Hi, I'm Carolyn Scott Hamilton, also known as the Healthy Voyager, and welcome to another exciting episode. This time, you're joining me in Quebec, Canada.
Quebec City sits on the St. Lawrence River in Canada's mostly French-speaking Quebec province. Dating to 1608, it has a fortified colonial core, Vieux Quebec and Place Royale, with beautiful stone buildings and narrow European-like streets. This area is the site of the towering Chateau Frontenac Hotel, an imposing citadel of Quebec. The Petit Champlain district's cobblestone streets are lined with unique bistros and charming boutiques. Quebec City and the surrounding areas are some of the most breathtaking in North America, and a wonderful way to get that European feel without having to cross the pond. And it happens to also be the land of my French ancestors. But first, let me take you just a short drive outside of Quebec City to Charlevoix for some whale watching and nature.
Well, as you can see behind me, this is the map of the St. Lawrence River, right around where we're floating, about to look for some whales. So we entered the river here. Look how deep that thing is. It's like 300 meters. We're gonna kind of head out and look for some whales. So let's hope and cross our fingers that we'll see some.
The Charlevoix region has so much to offer, especially if you're a nature enthusiast. From whale watching and boating to hiking, biking, and spa-ing, this rustic French-Canadian area is a wonderful place to let all your stress melt away. And where do you stay when visiting Charlevoix? Well, the Fairmont Le Royal, of course. With stunning waterfront views of the St. Lawrence River, this Fairmont property is steeped in tradition, blending the quiet charm of the countryside with the sophistication of a world-class resort in Quebec.
So I'm at a noisy table, but I wanted to let you know that I am at the Fairmont Le Royal here in Charlevoix region. I just finished whale watching for the day, and now I'm sitting down to a lovely veganized dinner, and I'm gonna show you what I've got. Time to eat.
Catering to all sorts of travelers, the Fairmont is a wonderful place to dine, as well as to kick up your feet and enjoy a beautiful sunset. It was time for me to head back to the city after some R&R in Charlevoix, and my first stop was the Chocolate Museum.
Well, I had to spoil my lunch here at Erico Chocolaterie and Musée. They have a chocolate museum, and they've got tons of homemade chocolate here. Bean to bar, I think, and they've got lots of vegan options. They've got dairy-free chocolate. They've got dairy-free vegan ice cream. This is a dark chocolate vegan ice cream with a dark chocolate dip. Talk about decadent, right? All right, I'm gonna go eat this, and then maybe go eat some more later.
I may have mentioned that Quebec is the land of my French ancestors, so on this trip, I was elated to be able to carve out some time to explore my roots. So as soon as I could, I made my way to the Ile de Orleans.
I've made it to the Ile of Orleans, and I'm here at the La Maison de Nous Aïeux, which is the genealogy center here for the island of all the founders of the island, which was basically the founders of New France and Quebec in general. So the reason why I'm here is because I have a direct lineage to one of the founding families. So outside of coming to Quebec just because it's a cool place and a beautiful place to come visit and dine, I've got some ancestral roots here, and that's why I came to the Isle. The Isle is also fantastic, whether you have ancestral roots or not, right now there's strawberry and blueberry picking, there's biking tours, beautiful B&Bs, wineries, all kinds of really beautiful stuff on the island. And at the, I believe, southern tip of the island, you can overlook Quebec City. So it's a fantastic island whether or not you have ancestral roots, but it's especially special for me. So I'm gonna head inside to La Maison and see where my family lived and find some historic plaques and all sorts of neat stuff and start exploring.
This lovely old rectory, turned into a museum, provides an overview of the history of the Ile de Orleans and its founding families. It's a wealth of information with knowledgeable staff who assist people tracing their ancestral roots every day. From a wonderful library to a scale map of the island with original family plot documentation, to history and artifacts from the colonial days, La Maison is a great place to spend an afternoon learning about Quebec's early history.
So I cleaned up at La Maison. It had tons of information on the Asselin family. I got family crest, I got pins, I got all sorts of information, family ancestral history. I found out exactly where David and Jacques, the brothers that helped found the island and New France, where they lived, and it happens to be 2 minutes down the road from where I am right now. So I'm gonna head over there and hang out and walk on the land that my ancestors founded here in New France. But beforehand, I wanted to show you this lovely monument. It's got all the names of all the founding families of the Ile de Orleans, and my fam's right over here. Check it out. Pretty cool, huh? All right, next stop, family plot. Here, I found it. It is the home of my actual great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather, David Asselin. This was his plot of land. I'm not quite sure if that was the structure that was on this land, but this is absolutely his land as documented at the Genealogy Society. So I was super stoked that it was so close to the Genealogy Society and right on the main drag. And I have to say, it's beautiful. It overlooks the St. Lawrence River. And I'm super stoked. I don't know if any Asselins live there anymore. I know they weren't able to kind of tell me that kind of stuff, which is totally fine. But this is so wild to be standing here, and it's making me emotional, so I'm gonna go. Bye!
After soaking up all that I could at my ancestors' land, it was time for me to check out more of the island and check in to my lovely hotel. The Auberge Lago is a charming hotel at the tip of the island with gorgeous views of the St. Lawrence as well as Quebec City. Not to mention their incredible restaurant.
Well, I'm about to have a lovely meal at the Auberge Lago. It is a kind of a bed and breakfasty kind of place, but it's a lovely restaurant for people who aren't staying here. And they have several riverfront rooms that face the St. Lawrence River, and on the other side they have a lovely viewing gazebo of Quebec City. So it's just a lovely place with a beautiful vibe, and I'm here at the restaurant, and they've made me a fabulous vegan meal, and I'm starting with some local shooters. I've got a sparkling apple juice that's from here from the Ile de Orleans. There's a Canadian vodka that I'm trying, and then there's arguille, which is like a bitter, kind of juicy liqueur. So I'm starting out heavy, and then I'm going straight through to dessert, all vegan style with a little bit of kick. Well, I've just received my first course, and it's absolutely stunning. It's fresh beets from the sous chef's garden, so it's local. The strawberries are from the island, local, organic. I've got beets, pistachios, radishes, strawberries. I've got fresh homemade cashew cheese and edible flowers. This is one of the loveliest plates I've ever seen, and I'm excited to dig in. Well, it's time for course number 2, and if you thought that first one was beautiful, this next one is going to blow your mind. It is obviously vegan, a pea risotto with fresh lobster mushrooms, oyster mushrooms, Paris mushrooms, and chanterelle mushrooms. There's also braised kale and sprouted nuts and seeds and beets and fresh veggies. It is one of the most beautiful risottos I've ever seen. And that first dish was so delicious, I'm willing to bet this one is even better. Well, last but not least, it's time for dessert, and this dessert does not disappoint. Those first 2 meals were absolutely beautiful, and they were just as tasty as they looked. But this dessert, again, is blowing my mind. This chef is killing it tonight. I've got all house-made raspberry sorbet with cacao nibs, fresh local blueberries and strawberries from the island, made with a completely vegan tart. It is a raw almond and pistachio base. It's the crust, and then the inside is an avocado cacao mousse topped with more cacao nibs and fresh raspberries from the island, and a coconut cream pistachio ice cream. I think I'm about to die.
After a long day and incredible feast, it was time to take my leave in my cozy room.
Well, breakfast here at the Auberge does not disappoint either. I've been served an absolute smorgasbord of beauty with vegan scones, homemade vegan yogurt, a carrot juice, and lovely local fresh fruit. All right, I'm gonna go enjoy and then set off on my day.
I decided to circle the island and see all that it had to offer. My first stop was at an organic berry jam producer, and I was completely wowed by the operation. Piggy Do boasts a quaint cafe, terrific homemade berry products, as well as local goodies, and even a jam tender who not only serves up sweet samples, but teaches you how to jam the right way.
We use a lot less sugar. So at your age, we keep that to the child.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
So let me present you something I have today. I didn't open that bar, so I'll figure it out.
After a fun morning learning about and tasting local jams, I headed for a scenic drive of the island before landing at my final stop. The Cassis Mona is a black currant farm and product producer owned and operated by Mr. Mona and his 2 lovely daughters. From farm to fork, spoon, and straw, they do it all, producing phenomenal products made of black currants. The farm and shop is a great place for a pit stop. However, they've turned their locale into a fabulous place to spend a whole afternoon. So be sure not to miss it when visiting Quebec. My time on the island is over, but there's still so much more of Quebec City coming up next, so stay tuned.
Au revoir!